Plus, it was a doggy dance party in downtown. It was the first ever electric dog disco party, I guess you want to call it, inspired by, of course, the Electric Daisy Carnival. We'll have more on that coming up.
Might even call it the Electric Doggy Carnival. Hey, we got a cloudy night ahead. We've got some warmer temperatures on the way and the chance of